Hello, and welcome to Turn to Your Doom, a choose your own adventure podcast where we explore the many paths and meet the many ends of a choose your own adventure book. Today, we are going to be reading Ghost Hunter by Edward Packard, and with me is somebody who decided to make a career change and is now a ghost hunter. Art.
Hi, it turns out being just a regular adult detective, it's not a draw. And people are just like, okay, cool. So is my uncle.
And the market is oversaturated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna be reading Ghost Hunter, which is actually a sequel to Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey. Which I didn't know that when I bought this. I just thought Ghost Hunter, ooh. But it is. Let me see. This is published in. This is an old version of this book as well. Oh, and it's illustrated by Ted Enik. 1986. January 1986 is when this was published. So we're reading one of the old ones, just an FYI. So the technology will not be updated.
I wonder why this one wasn't so popular that they had multiple print runs of it.
Huh. I wonder. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, we're kind of expecting this to be mid because the Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey wasn't that great either. But who knows? We'll see.
Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey could have been really good if they just structured the book differently.
Yeah.
It was too easy to figure out who was doing what, and by the time you did, why would you want to go down the other paths?
Yeah, exactly. All right, shall we get this party started?
Sure.
Okay. By the way, this book is, despite being published in 1986, I don't think this book has ever been open. It is fresh. Ever since you solved the Harlowe Thrombey murder case, your services as a private detective have been much in demand. Harlowe Thrombey was one of the richest men in town, and it was a surprise when he called you to help find out who was plotting against his life. Unfortunately, Thrombey was murdered the very night that you began your investigation. His widow, Jane Thrombey, was a prime suspect, and you proved her innocence, and afterward, she continued to live in their huge Victorian house until she died of a heart attack a few months ago. You've enjoyed being a private detective, but lately you've been thinking about going into a new field. In fact, you've decided to become a ghost hunter. What got you interested was a magazine article on the subject. The author said that, in most cases, a haunted house was once the scene of a murder. The fact tied in with some news you heard recently. After Jane Thrombey died a few months ago, a man named Howard Grimstone bought the Thrombey place. Neighbors say that strange things have been going on there. Nights on late at night, guard dogs patrolling the grounds, weird sounds coming from the house. The more you think about it, the more likely it seems that the ghost of Harlowe Thrombey has come to haunt the house where Thrombey was murdered. Another thing in the article caught your eye. The article said that Professor Zebak, who supposed to be one of the world's leading authorities on ghosts, works at the Institute for Occult Studies, only a few miles from where you live. The author did not seem to have a high opinion of Dr. Zebak, however. In fact, he said this: I hate Dr. Zebak. All my homies hate Dr. Zebak. Now it says, although Dr. Zebak has interviewed hundreds of people who claim to have seen ghosts, he admits he has never seen a ghost himself. How can he be so sure when that ghosts really exist? Doesn't he know that people have a way of seeing what they want to see or what they are afraid of seeing? Dr. Zebak's evidence for the existence of ghosts seems no more convincing Then all the so-called evidence for UFOs and ESP. Damn. You ask various...
Damn.
Damn, man. Tough crowd. You ask various people if they know anything about Dr. Zebak. A neighbor of yours, Mrs. Waleka, tells you she's known Dr. Zebak for many years. I don't know whether his theories about ghosts are true or not, but I do know this, she says. He is an honest man. You wonder whether it would be useful to see Dr. Zebak or not. If you decide to pay a call on Dr. Zebak, turn to page 4. If you decide to start ghost hunting without delay, turn to page 11.
What was the first one?
If we want to call this professor guy.
Let's call.
Let's make a new friend. Within an hour, you knock on the door of Professor Zebak's office at the Institute. A moment later, you were greeted by a tall, slim man wearing a tweed vest and polka dot bow tie. He ushers you into a tiny office, which is made even smaller from huge stacks of books piled up against walls. Sit down and make yourself comfortable. The professor taps the ashes out of his pipe and stuffs in some tobacco, but evidently deciding you might not want to sit in a room full of smoke, he lays the pipe down on his already cluttered desk. What can I do for you? I'm sorry, but I have to go to a meeting, and I only have a few minutes. Well, you say, clearing your throat, I've read that you've done a lot of research on ghosts. I thought maybe you could give me a few tips. Tips? The professor frowns. Well, it's a very complicated subject, not one that boils down to a few tips. That being said, I will tell you this. Number 1, ghosts exist, but they normally don't exist in a way which we are aware of their existence. So most of the time, it doesn't matter whether they exist or not. I don't quite follow, you start to say, but the professor interrupts you with an upraised finger. I'm not surprised you can't follow. It's very complicated, as I say. But what I say next to you can follow. Number 2, ghosts don't hurt people. They are more likely to be hurt if you run from a ghost than if you go towards it. The professor takes a gold watch out of his pocket and looks at it. Oops, I'm very late. As he gets to his feet, he grabs his jacket and the coat stand. He waves his pipe at you. Goodbye, I wish you luck. Good day. Before you can even thank the professor, he's out the door. You glance around at the cluttered little office a moment, and then you head home, thinking about what he said. You're sitting at your desk thinking about how you might begin your work as a ghost hunter when the phone rings. It's your old friend Jenny Mudge. It's quite a coincidence. Jenny, who is also a private detective, helped you solve the Harlowe Thrombey murder case. How are things, you ask? Jenny replies in her usual lively voice. Very fine. I've stopped being a private detective and decided to become a ghost hunter. That's amazing, you say. Great minds think alike. I was just about to see if I can find out whether Harlowe Thrombey's ghost has returned to haunt his old house. Could be, Jenny replies. But I've learned of a house that by all reports is definitely haunted. It's just a little way out of town, the Gray Mansion. It's been empty for a long time. The place is so haunted, weird, cursed, whatever you want to call it, that no one will go near it. I called you to see if you would like to go there with me this Saturday. If you decide to join Jenny, turn to page 14. If you decide to hunt for Harlowe Thrombey's ghost instead, turn to page 18.
Let's go with Jenny, because for some reason she always seems to have the same job and seems to have a reason to be around me for some reason. Ever since we were teenagers.
Weird.
It's so weird.
When you arrive at Jenny's house on Saturday, she greets you excitedly.
She greets you in a very, she treats you in a skin-tight dress that is a slit,
God.
like about halfway up. You're like, wow, that's being really impractical to go around to an old house and like, yeah, that's because we're having dinner first.
Oh.
What? Let's see if we can detect this.
Damn, Jenny, calm down. When you arrive at Jenny's house on Saturday, she greets you excitedly. The Gray Mansion is still empty, she says. Then what are we waiting for, you reply. Nothing. Now that I've found my flashlight, Jenny answers. There is a light drizzle falling, and the sky has an oppressive leaden look. When you reach the top of the hill and look at up at the huge Turner house, its turret lean and its porches sag from the decades of neglect. The massive front door is bolted shut, but halfway around the house you find an unlocked door that leads to a butler's pantry. You hardly reach the somber, musty hallway when you hear a wailing, moaning sound that rises and falls in pitch over and over. "This way," Jenny says, her voice a little shaky. You follow into a large room with massive oak tables and chests, the chairs covered with dark brown leather. Your eyes fix on a great stone fireplace. The wailing sound is louder now, and it's coming straight from the fireplace. "Maybe it's only the wind,"
no.
you say. Jenny clutches at your arm tightly. The wind never sounds like that. Good point, Jenny. Why do people always say that? Like, oh, it's probably the wind. Like, that's not what the wind sounds like. It's not.
You know what the wind sounds like.
Don't deflect. Then I guess it's a ghost. Jenny places her mouth close to your ear. "If we're going to trap it, we have to surround it. One of us must go up to the roof and shine the flashlight down the chimney, while the other watches the fireplace." "How can we get up on the roof?" "I noticed an upstairs porch on the left side of the house," Jenny answers. "It wouldn't be hard to swing onto the roof from there. Do you want to try it, or shall I?" If you say you'll go
I
up
heard the
on...
only way you capture a ghost is if, like, there's a lot of, positive excitement in the air. And, like, the only way I can think about doing that right now is, like, if we just make out, like, really hard for at least an hour, I think
Right
the ghost
now.
will just show up, right? I can't be. I'm not wrong for picking up. Like, there's like a
Oh,
thing.
there's
like,
definitely a thing.
Jenny Mudge.
I think I sensed this
Jimmy Mudge.
in Harlowe Thrombey, too.
It's just like your character is just like, oh yeah, Jenny Mudge. She's always doing the thing I'm doing. It's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because like he's trying to get your attention, my dude.
Weird how that works.
Yeah, maybe that's why. He was like, it's just every time like she's doing something with this character, it's like, that's interesting. That's a real interesting way of doing that, isn't it?
Yeah. It's funny because if I remember right in Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey, she did a better job than he did.
Oh, by a lot.
Yeah, like she found a bunch of clues he didn't have.
But a lot of women like mediocre men for some reason.
I know.
So
I'm not immune to this.
Yeah, you're definitely not.
They also have to be pathetic, though. Just a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of men are pathetic.
They really are. It's why I like sad dads. All right, if you say you'll go up on the roof, turn to page 41. If you decide to stay by the chimney, turn to page 55.
Let's go to the roof. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing bad could happen. Like at all.
Leaving Jenny to watch the fireplace, you climb the broad central staircase. In the second floor hall, you find a door leading to an upstairs porch. You are able to pivot around the corner post of the porch railing out onto the roof. Though you have a good tread on your sneakers and the roof is not steeply pitched, the stale shingles are wet and slippery. You have to work your way up with great care. You're beginning to feel more afraid of falling than coming face to face with the ghost. About halfway up the chimney, you pass the attic window. Looking into it, you see a face. A pale, gray face with twisted shadow of a mouth and great hollow eyes. Instinctively, you rear back, only a few inches, but enough to lose your balance. Desperately, you drop to your hands and knees to try and get traction on the roof, but it's too late. You're falling, tumbling, head over heels over the edge. Your neck twists, your head hits the hard ground. Page 30. You're dead. Dead as far as any human would say. But you aren't dead from your standpoint, because you can feel yourself floating, drifting into a house, passing like television waves through walls and doors and floors, your image invisible, floating and not always silent, but like a sometimes moaning, sometimes howling, wind that whips through trees, rattles windows and sends shafts of air past flickering candles. Your presence hovers through time, and it moves and is felt. Live people, solid people walk, run, and stumble. One gasps, another screams, terror in their eyes, their chests tight, panting, gripped by fear. The ghost that haunts them is you. Oof.
I mean, it would have been cool if we teamed up as a ghost with Jenny.
I know, right?
You know, like
Right.
what would be really cool? A ghost hunter team with a ghost on it,
Yeah.
or you just being a regular ghost.
Ghost hunter team, obvi. All right, let's go with the other option where we stay by the fireplace and Jenny goes up to the roof. You stand by the fireplace, ready to capture the ghost if Jenny scares it out. The wailing and moaning have stopped, and you wonder if it's because the ghost knows you are tracking it down. Perhaps it's like a wild animal that, once it knows it's being stalked, freezes and waits, ready to fight or flee if its adversary comes upon it. Very slowly, you inch towards the fireplace. You bend down to look up the chimney. As you stoop, your eye catches a painting on the wall. One of those portraits that is painting so that the eyes seem to follow you wherever you move. You stop, hypnotized by those eyes. You wonder if you're looking at a painting of a man whose ghost now haunts this house. You shiver as the chill air coming down the chimney seems to wrap around you. Suddenly, a scream from Jenny up on the roof. It's in the attic. I've got to get down. I almost fell. If you run to the upstairs porch to see if you can help Jenny, turn to page 79. If you run upstairs to the attic, turn to page 60.
Let's go to the attic.
Page 6. You rush up to the attic and boldly throw open the door. Before you is a thin, frail figure. His face is pale, his eyes have a hollow look. He turns and lurches towards you. You start to scream, but stop. It's not a ghost, but a live boy. About 16, you'd guess. His face has a gentle expression. He looks more frightened than frightening. Please don't tell them about me, he begs. You step forward to look more closely at his poor, tattered figure. Who are you? My name is Lewis. I ran away from home. I've been living here for 2 months. I make these weird noises to scare people away. If they find out I'm not a ghost, they'll kick me out, and I have no other place to stay. Hello? Are you up in the attic? It's Jenny's voice from downstairs. She must have safely gotten off the roof. Yes, come up, you call back. Turning back to Lewis, you introduce yourself, but Lewis does not offer to shake hands. Why did you leave home? You ask. It must have been pretty bad for you to choose this kind of life. Lewis suddenly sits down on the floor and leans back against the wall, staring into space. You wonder whether he has forgotten you're there. Are you in here? Comes Jenny's voice again. She's at the top of the attic stairs. Over here, you yell, and to Lewis you say, meet my friend Jenny. Jenny runs up beside you, stopping short as she spots Louise. Why, you're not a ghost, she says to him. But if you don't start eating more, you soon will be. Lewis smiles for the first time, and slowly gets to his feet. He ran away from home, you explain. To Jenny, I lived with my uncle, Lewis says. He was drunk a lot, and I bet you'd like a hot bath and a good meal, Jenny says. You can come over to my place, you add. We'll fix you up. Thanks. Thanks very much, Lewis says. He walks over to the corner of the attic, gathers up some clothes strewn on the floor, and stuffs them into a backpack. Then he follows you and Jenny down the stairs and out of the house. Lewis, is there anyone else you live with besides your uncle? Jenny asks as the three of you walk down the road. His face brightens for a moment. My half-brother lives in Alaska. He said I could come up and live with him, but I'd have to raise my own bus fare, and that's a lot of money. Maybe so, you say, but we'll help you find a way. You could even join our team of ghost hunters, Jenny says with a laugh. After all, you've had a valuable experience living in that haunted house. I don't know if I want to be a ghost hunter, Lewis says, but I'm pretty good at carpentry. Great, you say. I know a builder. I'm sure he could use you on his crew. Lewis, says Jenny empathetically, you're already halfway to Alaska. The end.
I mean, that wasn't an ending I was expecting.
Yeah, me neither.
But, cool. Empathy wins.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right, so if we decide to go the other way and we go up and try and help Jenny, you run upstairs and out onto the second floor porch. Jenny is clinging to the roof, slowly working her way down. The roof is too steep. She's sliding off the roof. You reach out and grab her wrist. Pulling with all your strength, you lift her up to the porch railing. Thanks, Jenny says, shaking as she slides off the railing and onto the porch. That face, it was horrible. Please, let's get out of here. You and Jenny head back down the hill, happy to have escaped from the gray mansion alive and sane. You didn't trap a ghost, but you at least found one, or so it seems. You can consider yourself a fully qualified ghost hunter. The end.
So, okay.
You just left that child there.
Oh, yeah, there's gonna be a child that starves to death because you did decide to
Yeah,
check.
you asshole.
Any further? Okay, apparently, I mean, what's our next path?
All right, so if we go one more back, we have the option of either going with Jenny to the house that we were just at, or to look for Harlowe Thrombey's ghost. So go look for Harlowe.
Guess we have to look for the ghost.
Yeah, I gotta turn to page 18. You decide first of all to pay a call on Howard Grimstone, the new owner of the Thrombey house. You're sitting at your desk thinking about what to ask him when a woman appears at your front door. I'm Sylvia Rustin, Jane Thrombey's niece, she says. May I come in? Of course. You take a close look at your visitor as you usher her into the office. She is a rather plump, round-faced woman in her 40s. You'd guess her skin is so fair you imagine she must sunburn very easily. Her yellowish hair is curly. She looks as if she has a basically happy nature, but right now she seems tense and anxious.
She looks as if she has no bitches.
No bitches. None. Not a single one. She looks as if she has a basically happy nature, but right now she seems tense and anxious. You had heard about Jane Thrombey, had left most of her money to Sylvia, and now you're curious to know what brought her to see you. Sit down. What seems to be the problem? You motion her to an old couch next to your desk. I'm penniless, and I should be rich. You search Sylvia's eyes for a clue to her character. What do you mean? I heard you inherited most of your Aunt Jane's wealth. Everything except the house. Sylvia leans towards you. Aunt Jane provided in her will that the house and the furniture be sold and the proceeds given to charity. All her money and jewels were left to me. But before she died, she put her money into diamonds. She even told me how many. There were 37. One of them was the famous Cartoum star, one of the largest diamonds in the world. She hid them in a red leather box, and I'm the only one who knows it. The house has been sold, but I'm sure the diamonds are still in it. In fact, I think I know exactly where they are. Aunt Jane once showed me her secret hiding place, behind a wood panel in the right rear corner of the cedar closet in the attic. What do you know about Howard Grimstone, the new owner? Not much, Sylvia replies with a shrug, but there are a lot of rumors about him. I heard he's a big drug dealer. There's also a rumor he's in the arms smuggling business, and that he makes bombs for terrorists. Not the kind of man you could ask for help looking for diamonds, I guess. By now, you could see that this is going to be a tricky case, and it will delay your new career as a ghost hunter. Besides, you're not really sure you can help. If you tell Sylvia you don't think you can help her, turn to page 8. If you tell her you'll think about it, turn to page 34.
Let's do the first one.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just don't think I can help you, say. Well, thanks for your time. I guess there isn't anything to be done. After Sylvia leaves, you go for a walk to think things over. By the time you get home, you've decided that you really should help Sylvia. It's not right that she should be deprived of her rightful inheritance. Next morning you call her, but there's no answer. Every day you try again, but it's a week before you're able to reach her. Oh, it's you, she says. I should have let you know I was visiting my mother. I got back yesterday and found that Grimstone has left town. The place is all locked up. Why do you think he cleared out? The police have been watching the place. He may have figured they've gotten enough evidence against him to close in on him. Maybe so, you reply. It also may mean that he found the diamonds. A thought suddenly occurs to you. Could you get a court order to have the place searched? I already tried, Sylvia replies. The judge denied my request. He said there wasn't enough evidence to justify his issuing a warrant. Well, maybe I can think of something. Sitting at your desk with your feet propped up, in your best thinking position, you wonder what to do next. Somehow, you've got to get inside the house. That afternoon, you walk halfway across town, to the section of where most of the rich people live, and stand across the street from the great white house where Harlowe Thrombey was murdered. The grounds are surrounded by a wrought iron fence. It's too high to climb except at the front gate. You glance at a man sitting in an old car parked out at the front of the house. You've been in the detective business long enough to know a plainclothes policeman when you see one. Maybe you should get Jenny to help. She could distract the policeman while you find a way to climb over the fence. On the other hand, you don't like the idea of sneaking into a place that's guarded by the police. Maybe you should join Jenny in investigating the Gray Mansion. If you call Jenny and ask for her help, turn to page 68. If you call Jenny and offer to help her, turn to page 14.
If you offer to help, does it circle back?
Let me see. Yes, it does.
Okay.
So page
well, then
68.
There's only one. There's only one way to go.
Jenny is eager to help. I've been thinking about the old Thrombey house since we first talked about it, she says. It's beginning to get dark that evening as you and Jenny walk along the road that runs past Grimstone's property. In your hand is a rope with a noose at the end, and you have a flashlight in your pocket.
hand is Jenny trying to hold your hand constantly. You don't really know
like,
if she's doing it on purpose or not.
You're like, why is your hand so sweaty each time?
Just like, oh, you keep on touching my hand. Do I need to? Sorry, are we walking too close? Be like, no. she's just sweaty.
Oh my god. You stop at a point opposite the side of the house. This looks like a good place. Okay, Jenny says, give me a couple of minutes to get around the corner and start talking to the policeman. The way you can be sure he won't surprise you while you're trying to climb over the fence. You wait a short while, then, tossing your rope, you lasso a spike at the top of the fence, and taking up on the rope as you climb, you literally walk up the iron fence. You teeter at the top a moment, free the noose, and jump down inside the fence. Skirting an empty dog pen, you circle around the back of the house, looking for an unlocked door or window. You don't seem to find any on the first floor, so you climb a cedar tree that's growing close to the rear corner of the house. From the upper branches, you're able to reach an unlocked window. It sticks at first, but with an extra shove, you get it open. A moment later, you're inside an upstairs bathroom. By now, it's quite dark in the house. You don't want to attract attention by turning on lights, so you move cautiously along the hallway, shining your flashlight on the floor ahead of you. You look for the stairway to the attic. In a moment, you find it. You're feeling a little scared as you start up the steps. Then you hear laughter coming from the landing above. You stop short. It's a man laughing, and he's laughing at you. You shine your flashlight up the steps. There is nothing there, and yet there is. A patch of yellow-white light is made by your flashlight, is forming into a ghost image of a human figure. Harlowe Thrombey! Who are you? Why are you laughing? You try to keep your voice from trembling. You know who I am. I expected you to save my life, and you didn't. And now I suppose you'd like me to save your life. My life doesn't need saving, you say, but the only reply you hear is more laughter. Then the image of Harlowe Thrombey disappears, and there's nothing before your eyes but your flashlight beam, shining on the wall. Was Harlowe Thrombey's ghost warning you of some terrible danger? Or was he just reminding you that despite your good intentions, he was murdered? If you continue on up the attic stairs, turn to page 13. If you decide it's time to get out of the house, turn to page 72.
Let's keep on going.
I was going to say, we ain't no bitch.
Yeah, also, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that he hired a teen detective, day of.
I know.
Come on. You died the same night he hired you. Come on.
Yeah.
Also, he was a teenager.
Also, I feel like it should have been obvious that your nephew was trying to kill you.
Yeah, it should have been.
But whatever.
Obvious.
A teenager figured it out. Keeping a wary eye on the landing above, you continue up the stairs. There's no further sign of a ghost, but as you reach the top step, your flashlight flickers out. You bang it on the floor and it flickers on. With your flashlight flickering on and off, you feel your way along the wall. You reach a door, open it, and shine your light around a large walk-in closet. From the distinctive smell of cedar, you can tell you probably reached the right place. Suddenly, there is a sound behind you. Whirling around, you feel a sack drawn down over your head. You scream and try to bite the strong hands that are binding ropes tightly around your arms. You struggle to wrench free, but you're tackled and dropped to the floor. You feel ropes being pulled tight around your legs. Your attacker rolls you along the attic floor, and you come to rest up against a wall with a thunk. For a moment, you're afraid you'll suffocate, but then you realize the sack is made of burlap. Enough air gets through for you to breathe. What's going on? You hear a man exclaim at the sound of his footsteps come louder. Suddenly he screams, and you hear him moving away. No, 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 don't come near me. Why is he yelling? You hear another scream, then a series of noises that sound like someone falling down the stairs. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Also, imagining that is kind of funny. And then, silence. You wriggle to get free, but you can hardly move. Whoever tied you up knew what he was doing. You're giving up? You recognize the voice of Harlowe Thrombey's ghost. Why did you do this to me? Let me go, you cry. I didn't do this, the ghost says. A living person did it. A petty criminal who works for Howard Grimstone and thought he would get a little something for himself. What happened to him? Did you push him down the stairs? No, the ghost replies patiently. He was so frightened he fell down the stairs. He's unconscious now, but he's not badly hurt. What is with... We just watched a Night Gallery episode where this happened. Well, I'm glad he's out cold. Now, could you please let me loose? Again, the ghost laughs, the same laugh that frightened you on the stairs. You don't understand. Ghosts don't hurt people, nor do they help them. Though, as you can see, people are often hurt or helped in the presence of ghosts. You start to ask another question, but there is no reply. By making a tremendous effort, you're able to then get to your feet and then hobble, twisting and turning. You can feel the ropes beginning to work loose. You keep struggling. You have to rest every once in a while. Breathing is difficult through the burlap bag. But at last you work one hand free and then the other. In a few moments, you're able to pull the bag up your head. You work the ropes loose from around your legs. You're sore, bruised, and exhausted, but you're free. Stumbling around in the dark, you kick something. The flashlight. You pick it up. It still doesn't work right, but at least it flickers on when you shake it. Then you hear a voice groaning at the bottom of the stairs. The man who attacked you must be regaining consciousness. If you go into the cedar closet and try and find the diamonds, turn to page 10. If you try to get out of the house right away, turn to page 33.
Well, let's try to find the diamond.
Hell yeah. You've come this far. You don't intend on leaving without the diamond.
You have a hiding spot.
That too. I was thinking that too. Like, you could at least hide in the cedar closet. You've come this far, and you don't intend to leave without those diamonds. Jiggling your flashlight, you get enough light to see by, and you open the cedar closet and go back to the right rear corner. You stand the flashlight on end while you pry away at the wall paneling with your pocket knife. In a minute, the panel comes loose. You pry it off and reach for the flashlight and shine it in the hole in the wall. There you see a small box covered in red leather. You found the diamond. As you reach for the box, you sense a presence behind you. You half turn around and look. This time it's not a sack coming down over your head, but the steel barrel of an automatic rifle. The last thing you ever see. The end. This man really ripped out a fucking AK-47 to kill you. Like, the cop outside isn't gonna hear.
I'm gonna be real honest. This book, not good. Not bad. Not good.
Yeah.
Definition of mid, I guess. I mean, what happens if we run?
Oh, let's see. That's a lot of reading. Okay. So, if we decide to leave the house, you run down the stairs, practically jumping the last flight. Moments later, you rush out of the house, completely forgetting about the policeman on duty. He sees you coming, and he's waiting when you climb over the gate. Jenny has been waiting too. She runs up behind him. What are you doing there? The cop demands. I saw a ghost. There really is a ghost in there. My friend is a ghost hunter, Jenny puts in. Being a ghost hunter gives you no license to trespass on private property. So get in the back seat. We're going to have to take you down to the headquarters and book you. I know it's hard to...
You're going to have a hunter's license.
Yeah.
Take the hunt. Okay.
I know it's hard to believe you say.
I know it's hard to believe. Okay,
a hunter's license. It lets you break into people's houses.
Yep.
But only if you're, like, really sure there's a ghost there.
Or if you just feel like it because hunters are immune to the law.
Yeah. That explains so much about Zach Bagans. That explains everything about him, actually. It's what sovereign citizens wish they were.
Yeah.
Little did they know they just have to become a ghost hunter. I know it's hard to believe, you say, but there is a ghost in there. In the car, now. You better not leave till you have a replacement, Jenny says to the policeman. Nothing is going to happen in the 10 minutes the house is left unguarded, the cop snaps as you climb into the car. At that moment, a man runs out of the house, screaming, "It's after me! Help! What the?" In a flash, the cop is out of the car, gun drawn. "It's a ghost! A real ghost!" the man whimpers as he approaches the car. "See what I mean, officer?" you say. "Uh-oh," the man exclaims. "Excuse me, I gotta be going." "Just a minute," says the cop. "Freeze! Raise your hands." Keeping a bead on the man, the cop reaches inside his car and picks up the radio phone. "Jorgensen, car 6, at the Grimstone house. I got a man here who may be that suspect for the Union Bank holdup. Yeah, better send a couple of men here." The cop steps closer to his prisoner. "You're Herman Nagar, aren't you?" The only response is a muttered curse, which is drowned out by the wail of a police siren. Looking at you, the cop says, "You can get out. I'm not going to charge you with trespassing because you helped smoke this man out. But from now on, you leave this kind of thing to the police, and you better clear out of here before the chief arrives." You and Jenny head back down the street, trying to decide what to do next. From a distance, you and Jenny watch 2 more police cars converging on the scene. In a few minutes, they all pull away. You see Nagar sitting alone in the back seat of one of the cars, isolated by wire mesh grating. He is yelling something at the officers in front. That won't help his case any, you reflect. "I'm surprised they left the place unguarded," Jenny says. "I imagine at least one cop will be back soon," you say. "This may be our only chance to get those diamonds." "Let's go," says Jenny. Searching along the perimeter of the house, you find an unlocked kitchen window that you missed last time. It opens with a little prying. You climb inside and give Jenny a hand and pull her in after you. Flashlight in hand, you walk out of the kitchen with Jenny close behind. As you move towards the stairs, you pass by the opulent dining room, where you stop to gaze up at the enormous chandelier, which hangs dozen of crystalline lights. "I think it's swinging a little, Jenny." "It kind of looks that way," she replies, "but let's just say we're imagining it." From somewhere above,
Yeah, I think it's swinging because I see this bowl with a bunch of keys in it. There's also a bunch of upside-down pineapples.
Oh, God! From somewhere above, you hear the ticking of a clock. It grows louder. "I'm not imagining that," you say. "It's a ghost clock," Jenny says, and you both laugh. The 2 of you start up the stairs. Almost at once, the steps begin to vibrate under your feet. You hear the deep, quivering sound. You feel like running, but you force yourself to continue up the stairs. Suddenly, the sound increases in pitch and volume, so quickly your hands fly to your ears to cover them. At the same time, a balloon of ghostly white light circles you, narrowing, closing in. You and Jenny cringe against the stairs. Nothing is touching you, but the tightness in your throat feels like an invisible hand squeezing your windpipe. "We've got to get out," Jenny whispers hoarsely. You feel almost paralyzed, then panicked. You race down the stairs, pulling Jenny along by the hand. Then, as you start down the hall, a terrible thundering noise rumbles along the floor. A sound that could be made by some great boulder tumbling down a mountain. You open a nearby door and dart in. Jenny is right behind you. She slams the door and shuts as the thundering noise rolls by. You feel safe for the moment, but you can't tell where you are. It's pitch black. "I've lost my flashlight." "I have matches," Jenny says. She lights a match so close under your nose you rear back from the sulphurous smell. In the brief flickering light, you see that you're at the top of a set of stairs leading into a basement. Jenny shakes out the match and keeps from burning her fingers. "I don't want to go down there." She tries to open the door into the hall, but it's stuck. You grab the doorknob, but your fingers slide off as you push. Your hand is sweating, making the knob slippery. "Why won't it open?" Jenny cries. "I think the wood is swollen up. Now we'll have to go downstairs." I have only a couple matches left," Jenny says. "Don't use them yet," you caution. In darkness, gripping the handrail, You and Jenny start down the steps. The air becomes cooler and damper as you descend. This is a deep basement, Jenny says. Maybe there's another way out of here, you say, hopefully, just as you reach the wet cement floor. It's so deep that groundwater must seep in here. Time to light a match. Jenny strikes a match, but you see only a little flash of light that jumps out from her hand and burns out before it hits the floor. The head broke off, Jenny explains. Only one match left. Oh, I wish I forgot I brought a candle or something. Might as well light the last match now. This time, the match lights up part of the basement, but not enough for you to see where there might be any doors or passageways. But what you do see sends a shudder through your bones. Scurrying around the floor are large brown rats. Dozens of them. A couple of them are inching closer, as if you've attracted their attention. We'd better try that door again. Jenny's voice is shaking as her last match flickers out. The two of you start up the stairs, but you stop short. Only a few steps. There is a white glow at the top of the stairs. It expands, lengthening to form a human shape. You are staring once again at Harlowe Thrombey's ghost. Oh no, Jenny's voice sounds thin and pitched. The ghost replies with an eerie, echoing peals of laughter. You stand frozen, more hypnotized than frightened. The ghost neither moves nor talks, but stands motionless, staring at you as if deciding your fate. What can we do? Jenny squeezes your arm so tightly you almost cry out. If you continue up the steps towards the ghost, turn to page 37. If you go back down the steps and grope your way through the basement looking for steps leading outside the house, turn to page 71.
Let's go to that.
Which one do you want to do?
Let's go to the ghost upstairs.
Yeah, let's fist fight this ghost.
I'm a level 2 monk. My fists are now considered magical.
I was going to say. Like the exact same thing. Think a ghost could stop me?
I'll punch that ghost right in its fucking face. He'll be like, ow! I didn't know I could still feel pain. It's not the
The ghost is like way more surprised than you are. Like, what the heck? I don't think ghosts can hurt anyone, whispered to Jenny. They just scare people. Besides, how can we hunt a ghost if we're always running? Jenny grips your belt, and the two of you start up the stairs step by step. You close your eyes a moment, hoping the ghost will go away. But it doesn't. It seems to become more and more solid. You could see the lines etched in its face. Its hollow, dark eyes seem to be tunnels to nowhere. You can read the expression on its face. You feel as if it's deciding what to do to you. Jenny is still clutching your belt. You take another step, but you're not really thinking. The laughter of the ghost rings in your ears. Your eyes are focused on your feet, which are increasingly heavier, as if they are about to become rooted. When you look up, the ghost is only 2 steps above you. It seems huge. Jenny, you whisper hoarsely, it's not solid. We can make it. Pulling Jenny by the hand, you step up to the ghost and through it. You crash into the door. You push it again with strength you never knew you had. The door flies open. You and Jenny run into the hallway and towards the front of the house. Jenny throws open the front door. A fresh breeze blows in. Looking back, you see only the dark, empty hallway. You follow Jenny outside and slam the door behind you. What happened to the ghost? Jenny asks. She's still shaking, and so are you. It just vanished, you reply. Terrible as it was, it couldn't stand up to us. I guess we're pretty good ghost hunters, Jenny says. Good enough so that I think we won't have to hunt them anymore. And somehow, I don't think that ghost will be hunting us, says Jenny. The end.
This book is like, it's like plain oatmeal.
Yeah.
It is just, it really has nothing.
Let me see.
Like, it's just enough. It's like, I see if there's like any interesting endings, I guess. But like, I'm kind of done with this book. Like, it's not gripping. There's no grip.
I don't think there really is. Yeah, not really. Like there's an ending where you get arrested. There's an ending where you get the diamonds. But nothing very exciting.
Well,
an ending
Harlowe
where you
Thrombey,
break your neck falling out of a tree.
Yeah. Who killed Harlowe Thrombey has the rare sequel that is also a one-parter because I don't want to do
I
any more
know,
of this
this
book.
was not very exciting. I was thinking there's really not much more to this book anyways. It looks like there's a part where you can team up with Sylvia, and that can go like one of two ways. You either get the diamonds with her, or like you get arrested, or fall out a tree. But otherwise, it doesn't look very exciting. All right, well, that was Ghost Hunter.
How did they make two extremely boring books in a row?
I know, right? Damn. Like,
Yeah.
oh well. There's a reason why it hasn't been reprinted. There's a reason why this book wasn't open either, I think. Oh well.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting this to be mid, and we are on a track to have some more mid ones for the time being. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't like terribly boring. Or like.
Yeah, just.
I was afraid of because this isn't an updated copy of like I don't know something offensive being in here, but nothing really, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like most of the ones that just didn't get any like multiple printings. It's mostly just due to lack of demand. Like, just no one really cared too much about
Which
them.
confuses me, because so the other book I have is The War with the Mutant Spider Ants, which sounds rad. Why hasn't this been reprinted? Sounds fun.
Well, some of the ones that sounded super fun also, like, maybe there's like a rights thing.
Like, the worst day of your life.
Yeah, because the whole thing with Choose Co. as of right now, anyway, it was kind of like revived.
Yes.
By Arson Montgomery. It was like they kind of just stopped doing anything. I think sometime in the mid-90s. And Arson Montgomery,
or Anson,
like after his father died. Or Anson, sorry, Anson. Anson Montgomery. It's on the same level.
Arson,
it's on the same level.
Arson would be such a rad name.
But there is but R.A. Montgomery, I think, died sometime in like 2013, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it was kind of revived by, their family after that. So, and that might be a right issue. Like, I don't know if we have any, like, Edward Packard. Like, a lot of Edward Packard stuff.
Yeah.
That was reprinted.
Yeah.
So, it might be a rights issue. But yeah. But luckily, R.A. Montgomery and wrote a lot of books as well.
Yes. All right. Well, that was interesting. Kind of mid. That's fine. Mid books have to exist. But yeah, that was Ghost Hunter by Edward Packard. The illustrations in this were pretty good, actually. It was illustrated by Ted Enik, I have to say. And this was published in 1986. So that was Ghost Hunter, sequel to Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey. Maybe this child will go back to being a kid detective. Who knows?
Maybe this adult maid will go back to being a teen detective.
That would be so funny.
Okay, bye.
Sorry.
Good night, Mr. the Missile.